Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to our class of plant systematics. We were discussing the general characters of Apiaceae, and this was our previous video in which we discussed the habit of the Apiaceae. So they are mostly annual plants, and I told you what are annuals: the plant which remains alive or functional for one season, and then the plant gets perished, it is totally destroyed, only the seed remains if it is a seed producing plant, and then those seeds grow in the next season and the cycle is started again. Perennial plants, on the other hand, they live for many years. However, in herbaceous plants, it usually happens that the aerial part of the plant, it usually dies away and it leaves some underground parts in the soil which grow in the next season and produce a new aerial shoot. Occasionally, saffruticent plant, basically it is a herbaceous plant, but its lower part, which is close to the soil, close to the ground, it becomes hard and somewhat woody, and it usually doesn't die away, and whereas the upper part it remains herbaceous or green. So this is saffruticent. Rarely under shrubs, they are very rarely, they may be just smaller than shrubs or shrubs, and they have an aromatic odor, a very foul smell, not a very good smell, so it is aromatic odor. However, as far as habit is concerned, there might be some climbing plants as well. So this was what we discussed in our previous video. It was just a recap, just to remind you. And now we move on to the next character, and that is stem. Hopefully you are well aware of the term stem. The main axis or the axis of the branches, so this is the stem, the main stem. This is also stem, and what we call it a branch. So this is the stem, the aerial part of the plant, which usually grows erect, but it may be a climbing or it may be a trailer and so forth. So stem is mostly erect. These are a few examples like Heracleum and Angelica. You can give any one example even of the carrot and coriander, which are the common plants in our area. However, there are certain creeping plants as well, which creep on the surface of the soil or any substratum, so they cannot grow erect. So this is centella. These are the examples of those characters. So erect, Heracleum, which stays upright, so to say, which makes almost a 90 degrees angle with the soil. So this is erect, and creeping, as its name indicates, which creep on the surface of the soil, and it cannot grow erect. It's a weak stem, so it cannot grow erect. The stem is generally rigid, that is, the outline of the stem is not perfectly round. It may carry some ridges on it, so these are ridges, and they travel throughout the length of the stem. These are not spines. So this is a ridge on the stem. Ridge is basically an elevated part which rises above the surface. So this is a ridge, and it travels the entire length of the stem. So its stem is ridged with elevated parts which run the entire length of the stem. Fistular, the nodes which are hollow from inside, so there is no tissue in the internodes, so they are simply hollow. So the stem is mostly erect. Heracleum, Angelica, coriander, Daucus carota, carrot, so forth. It might be creeping, which trails on the ground, creeps on the ground. It doesn't stay erect. Centella, the stem is mostly ridged, that is, there are elevated parts on the stem. Parts of the stem may be in the form of a ridge. and the internodes are fistular, that is, they are hollow from inside. Next is the leaf. Uh, Mostly the leaves are alternate. Rarely you would find the leaves opposite as in apiastrum. So opposite leaf would be, this is a node, so leaves on either side of the node facing each other. So this is an opposite condition. But this is rare. Opposite is rare in Apiaceae. Leaves are alternate, and if you remember, we have already discussed this term when we were discussing the distinguishing characters of the family. So alternate when one leaf arises from each node. So this is an alternate condition. So these are one leaf, single leaf per node from each node. So this is alternate or spiral condition. However, there might be opposite cases as well, like apiastrum. As far as the structure of the leaf, or whether it is simple or compound, so mostly the leaves are simple. Centella and Vaplurum, the leaves are simple. However, they can be much dissected. Now, by dissection, what we mean? So this is, say, a leaf. Now it has a margin which is entire. There is no dentation or cutting in it, and if the margin of the leaf is cut in various forms, like this one, so these are incisions, as you can see. So these incisions are of various degree, so the leaves are much dissected. So it can be like this. So these are incisions in the leaf, and they are of various types. So leaves may be simple, or they may be dissected like this one. Often the leaves are compound, and they are pinnately or palmately lobed. So they can be pinnately compound or palmately compound. We have already seen these terms before. Simple leaf in which the entire lamina is one piece. So this is simple. Lamina one piece, this is petiole, this is midrib, and these are its veins. So this is simple leaf. On the other hand, a compound leaf in which the lamina is divided into leaf-like parts. So this is a compound leaf. But when the leaflets arise from a central axis which is known as rachis, just like the pinna of a feather. The feathers of the birds, so they have somewhat a similar structure as I am drawing here. So these plumes, or these structures of the feather, they are arising from a central axis. Similar is the case here. There is a central axis which is known as rachis, comparable to the midrib, and from this leaflets are arising, and this is known as pinnate compound leaf. So pinnate compound leaves are of different kinds, and hopefully in the coming families we are going to discuss that as well. So this is a pinnate compound leaf when leaflets arise from a central axis known as rachis. And the number of these leaflets can be any, it depends upon the species. In rose, for example, they may be 3 to 7, like this, and we have 5 leaflets in this particular leaf. Pinnate, which arise from a central axis, and next is the palmately lobed. Now palmate is a kind of compound leaf in which leaflets seems to arise from one point. So this is a diagram of a palmate compound leaf, just like palms of a hand. So these leaflets may be 3 or 5 or 2, it depends upon the kind of the palmate. When leaflets are arising from one point, so we can draw a few more. So this is a palmate leaf. There are 5 leaflets which are arising, seem to arise from a single point, as the internodes are extremely short. The leaves in Apiaceae, they are often compound, which may be a pinnate compound leaf or a palmate compound leaf. Next is the exstipulate. Exstipulate leaves. If you take a look at the leaf, for example, this is a stem, this is node, and a leaf is arising from the node. So you will find a couple of outgrowths at the base of the leaf, and these outgrowths are usually known as stipules, and there are many different kinds of stipules. So when the stipule is present, the leaf is known as stipulate. So you can guess what would exstipulate term mean. Stipulate when leaves are present, and exstipulate when the stipules are absent. So the leaves of the Apiaceae are without stipule. The stipules are not present in family Apiaceae. So simple term. And next is that the base of the leaf is usually a sheathing one. That is, it covers the stem for some distance. Let's say this is a stem and this is a leaf, and part of the leaf like this. Now it covers the now this is sheathing the stem. This particular area is covering the stem, or let's draw it once more. So this is a leaf, and as you can see that this particular area, and now we are going to draw the stem. So this particular part of the stem is hidden, as the leaf, this part of the leaf is covering the stem, it is sheathing the stem, and this is the area which is known as node. So leaf is actually arising from here, but its base is like a sheath, it is covering the stem, it is wrapped around the stem. This is sheathing leaf base, which covers the stem for some distance. And how much area of the stem is covered by the base of the leaf like a sheath, it depends upon the species. So the leaf base is a sheathing one in Apiaceae. And next is the shape of the leaf. The leaves are narrow, that is just like the leaves of the grasses. If you take a look at the leaf of a grass or leaf of wheat, for example, so they are narrow with parallel veins which run parallel to each other. So in genera like Aciphylla and Eryngium, the leaves are narrow with parallel venation. Now this is another topic of venation in leaves. So parallel venation, when the veins of the leaf, main veins of the leaves, they run parallel to each other. So this is a parallel example of a parallel venation, which is a characteristic feature of monocot leaf. So with this ends the vegetative characters of the family Apiaceae. We have seen its habit, the overall form of the body, which is mostly herbaceous. Then we have seen its stem, which is fistular, mostly erect, or it might be creeping. And then we have seen that the leaves, they are mostly alternate, rarely they may be opposite. They are simple, but usually they are compound, pinnately or palmately lobed. There are no stipules in the leaf of the family Apiaceae, species of the family Apiaceae. The mostly you would find the base of the leaf sheathing, that is covering the stem for some distance, and in some genera the leaf might be narrow with parallel venation, just like a monocot leaf. One thing you must keep in mind, that the characters described here, that are being described here, now they are not absolute. Absolute means that you won't find each and every character defined here in all the plants of the family Apiaceae. This is not so. There may be exceptions. So it is just possible that in some leaves you find an stipule, although it's not possible, rare, and it is just possible that there might be the sheathing leaf base might be absent, and similar case with the other characters. So this definition or this description of the characters is not absolute. There are always exceptions when we are describing the general characters of a family. So in the next video, we are going to discuss the floral characters or the reproductive characters of family Apiaceae. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.